something that we want people to hear about. What's up? What's up? What's up, White Nick Love? What's up, my Oracle?
Okay, this is not our standard episode. So, welcome to the Alchemist and The Oracle. I'm not even going to do the little spill. So we're going to do kind of like a warrior check-in and just see where the conversation takes us. At the time that we're recording this, it's the end of January 2025. And there's just so much going on in the world. That's an understatement. I don't even think that statement carries the fullness of the sentimentality of what I'm talking about. How the hell are you doing? Let's start there.
I'm doing pretty good.
I didn't even introduce who we were. I didn't even introduce you. You said who I was. So this is my co-host, Warrioress, Ardeshir, RN. She's the Alchemist. And I'm Nicole of The Oracle. Welcome. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like these type of it is what it is conversations.
Yeah.
All right. Balls in your court. How are you doing, given everything that's going on?
We're just letting y'all in kind of on how we do, what we do when we ain't recording. That's basically what's up. I'm doing good.
I don't know if they'll ever see that level of access. Not here. I think that's going to have to be behind a paywall, truth be told.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeping it real. Anyway. I'm all about keeping it real.
Yes, you are. You do it really well.
Oh, yeah. This week went by fast, but it was pretty good. What's the greatest thing is the Ohio State Buckeyes, whether y'all like it or not, they kick butt, national champions.
Okay, that's a win.
It is
that's a win. What are some other wins this month? So I feel like the news cycle is focusing on all of the fails, but
yeah, because I don't know why people like to sit in that mess so much. All the negativity.
Because we're programmed.
I'm not programmed
in our society to be in that space. We're indoctrinated in that way. We're breaking through the matrix. We're the ones that are like, fuck the system. Fair warning, there's probably going to be some cussing on this episode because this is a real honest conversation. Yeah.
Well, it lowers the vibration. And people actually feel it. Some people recognize it, some people don't. And it's just too much. So spiritually,
why do they do that? Why do you think that's something that's done?
Because it's something
based on your knowledge of how the world works.
It's something that has become, normal within, and until we recognize it, it just becomes a part of your lifestyle, because lifestyle is not always chosen, but some things that we do are chosen to look at and see what's going on and embrace that. It's just like someone who I love very much sits in and you look at, things, and or even a whole bunch of people, not just one, that get into CNN and stay on that. It's only so much that your soul can take until it becomes. I'll give you an example of a precious animal that I knew. For example, if you're around, you can be the most joyous person or animal, and animals have living spirits. They feel pain, they understand you and what you say and all that because you raised them. And if they're around negativity and feed, they pick up on that, and also their demeanor and stuff changes as well. Believe it or not, you can watch it for yourself. Try it sometime. It's just like when they talk about how you talk to a plant or what it gives, and if you talk down to this plant will eventually die.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you embrace all of that, and it becomes a part, and it's hard to unfortunately separate from it, which is the sad part because there's so much goodness going on. So when I look at here and I looked at where I used to live and the news channel for after how much they would share that, but they also brought a lot of good things that was happening in the community. It's more so whether in children, despite when I came up, of the goodness that's going on with kids and youth are starting to care about the world and the atmosphere. But to have that negativity is just too much, and you can hear it in the way you speak and how you look, go. And I don't choose. Spirit lets me know when I should turn on the TV or check out the news, and I'll get what I need, or somebody will tell me what I need without me getting all that in through television, because it's just so much. It's like, where's the positivity? So I choose the positivity because whether you get all that in, you can't see the goodness in the world. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of goodness going on in the world. There's a lot of good people going on, and not everybody's in the public eye. There's only certain people, and it's just like something that I heard, and I think it might have been from Major Yana Van Zant, um, in reference to what you're doing in the community, and not everybody is seen. And I think something else came up, and I've got so much input that I'm getting, where whatever you're doing for your community, how you're helping somebody, and what you're doing, and uplifting, embracing, teaching, especially comes with the children, even adults. We have to shift our mindsets. And so when I look at, and one of my favorite songs is Smile by Kirk Franklin. Can't get by it because it names the city I live in, that I grew up from, in the suburbs and everything around here. It's smile. You look good. So when you smile, it also does add years to your life. The more you smile through what you go through, it'll get you through it. You just don't know it. So there's a culture that came up and really heavy after the 70s into the news media. The 90s was real, and then it just carried on. And people, I don't know what it is. Here's another example: the commercial. Oh my God, who is it? Who is it? Oh, the guy who causes havoc,
Oh,
um,
mayhem.
mayhem. His
Yeah.
behind.
I love
So,
those commercials. I don't know why.
girl, let me get to the, yeah. Let me get. So when they attempted to change it for a little bit to tell people how to be safe, this was this one commercial that came in where they had the light flashes. I forget what you call them. I need to put some in my car, but I've been lucky I haven't had to. And to do the things to help keep you safe on the road. If you got hazards, you need those little things that some of the truckers put to go back to let people know that you are stranded or you have a certain situation or a flat tire. And
Oh,
I've
the
seen some people
flares.
that, yeah, flares, that have to change their. Matter of fact, there was a couple of people I just drove by on the interstate who was changing their tire on the interstate, and there's people here. There's a few of us that know that if you can get over, but when somebody's speeding, won't let you over, so you can shift lanes to at least not be near them. And then when you get past that car, you get back into the right hand lane. So mayhem, when they tried to change mayhem to teach you some of the good things, girl, that didn't last long. And I think I heard some where people might have been complaining to bring him back, so they like the destruction. I'm like, really, y'all? Y'all need to know some of that other stuff that they were
But
trying to tell
as
you.
someone that appreciates mayhem, I
I
think
mean, I don't have
it's
anything to do with mayhem. I
relatable.
get it. It is.
Cause
But
you
so,
see, like I like it because I can
he's
see
funny.
parts of
He's funny.
myself in
Hilarious.
some of my behavior as a driver. Or
Oh,
you
see.
see the behavior of other people.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So he's calling out the absurdity of how people are comfortably in their mayhem. It's just so like.
Well, I experienced it, and I brought it up because I like to drive a lot, and it's a little frustrating. I think he's funny. There's some things about the commercial I
You
get.
seen the latest one with the? There's another one that's out, but I can't tell you the scenario. But the one with the mascot that's rushing to the game.
Oh God, that one's been around for a minute. Oh yeah, I've been
But
on
there's
that
a
one.
new one that just came out, and I was
Really?
like, "Ooh, it's a new Mayhem commercial. He's back." But do you notice he comes back around the Super Bowl time? Because people are more interested in watching the commercials because it's part of the Super Bowl experience.
Oh yeah, that's popular. I mean, there's been some good Super Bowl commercials. I remember when Budweiser had their stuff, and I used to drink Budweiser. I couldn't drink that. That shit would kill me now. Nothing against Budweiser, but
I have everything against Budweiser. That is like disgusting.
I can't do it.
The smell
I had to earn
alone.
the right. Yeah, I had to earn the right with my grandmother. It was one of those beers you had to earn your right to drink with your ancestors. I guess it was better. I don't know. Yeah, it was one of the beers that
you had to. She had the good quality, the higher quality beer. You had to. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying that she was drinking Budweiser. I'm like, what? I got you now. I got you.
So I mean, yeah, the commercial it's true. You have people that will tag your car and keep on, and if you don't have the insurance, it's something. But no, I mean he's funny. But the weird thing that I was making is when they changed it, when we were talking about why people are into the chaos. I mean, and then when they tried to teach you, kind of the opposite side of that, to keep yourself safe on when you're stranded and a few other things, it didn't last long, and they went back to the real aspect of mayhem. They didn't like the fact that mayhem was trying to tell you how to do some safety. It was safety tips.
It was contradictory because why would mayhem? He represents chaos. Why would he show you how to do and be the opposite? It's like, come on now. They failed in that messaging. They're.
So he needed a counterpart.
Approached it like introduce another character. What's the opposite
he needed
of mayhem?
A counterpart. Yeah. Because I think they both ought to be seen. That's just me.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, I mean, I say, and people get, how you go? I said, I don't have to know you. Nobody will ever walk your same path. And when you're trying to tell somebody, it's like, oh, you don't know. Ain't nobody trying to know because I don't want to be in your head, but I know that that you can get through any freaking thing. And we have to go into depths to why we think and feel.
Hey, Alexa. Alexa in the background. She's recording you and such. You know she's literally recording your conversation.
She just heard you, so stop it.
Oh, really? Alexa.
Don't you do it. I don't know how she hearing you because I got my headphone on.
I'm speaking telepathically to her.
Yeah, that's funny. That's what, man.
I have that capability and that capacity to do that. Literally.
Don't surprise me.
I'm magical in that way. Anyway.
But, yeah, I mean, we have to see past what's going on. It's the only way to live freely and joyfully regardless. So I pray everywhere I go. It's just like if somebody's flying by me at 90, I pray that they get where they're going, even though that jerks me out because they go in and out of traffic at 90. And so that's a little, that's a little unsafe. But there's a lot that's going to happen this year. There's a lot going on. I can feel it, but the thing of it is you have to stay aligned, centered, and people gonna have to take a lot more deep breaths than the natural breaths they taking on their own that the creators give
I
them.
I agree. So I don't know if I've talked about this here, but we're in a 9-year energetically,
Yeah.
universally, and a
Yeah.
9-year is about endings.
Yeah.
How I see it, like I always like if I had to put it into like the scope of like my practice and the tools that I use, I'm gonna take it to the tarot deck. It is the Tower card is very representative of a 9-year. So if you look at the Tower card, it's like destruction and chaos, and there's like in like the traditional Rider Waite deck, there's like this tower, and there's like a lightning bolt hitting the tower, and there's like people that are like falling from the tower to the ground, and you know, just looking at what's happening in California, like that was just crazy to kind of see that play out. And even before we got there, before we even got there, New Year's Eve, there was not New, yeah, there was something that happened on New Year's Eve. It didn't make the news. But like what was going on in New Orleans, what was going on in Vegas, and then we have the fires going on that are still going on. No, they're not going on now. Now it's hailing and raining in California. So it went to the other extreme. I'm like, what is really going on?
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a year. I call it like a life review. Karma has come to collect. Karma is like, hey, this is my year. Let's sit here and look at like the choices that you've made.
Yes.
And we're going to review the effect. Because we're going into like the next year is all about new beginnings. And
yes, it is. Yes.
But it's just going to be a very bruising year.
I'm clearing a lot of stuff.
So how can you support yourself? I think that's why it's so important to kind of have an awareness of like just the energy, so you can anticipate and have like tools and practices to not like be taken out. I think this is probably the year that you probably don't need to watch the news so much.
Oh yeah. I'm in agreement with you with that.
And then what's going on in Gaza? Like they're telling half truths in terms of the news. They're talking about the ceasefire that's going on in northern Gaza. I'm just gonna say it, but they're not talking about the fact that they're still blowing up shit in the West Bank. That's not part of the conversation. So there's not a ceasefire. It's a half truth that they're telling in the news. So I think another thing is, if you're going to watch the news, look at the sources of the news so you can get a fuller picture of what's going on. And I'm also aware of people that are trying to show up in those spaces to help the people. Like you said, like the news doesn't tell the on the ground efforts of the community, like activated in trying to help alleviate the suffering of people.
Yeah, that.
So I know, like, it's just a lot going on, and I feel it. I see it in my client sessions. I see it in the sessions where I'm like working with like their pets. Like pets are like completely,
pick up.
Energy is just all over the place. And I believe that pets
pick up a lot.
Pets, well, cats and dogs, both of them do. They do it in different ways. I think cats are much more energetically sensitive because they're not really allowed to go outside and like ground their energy. They tend to be stuck in the house. Whereas dogs, they go on walks, so they're able to like really connect to that earthy energy and such. So they can appear to be much more like happy-go-lucky versus cats are just like, I don't even like you as my owner. But it's not that, because I had a conversation with a client because she was saying like her cat was just so aggressive towards her, and so I was like, well, what's going on with you? And so she was trying, like, she's like, oh, just the usual stuff. I said, okay, well, what is the usual stuff? Like, tell me, like, give me, like, what's happened in the last day or two. And she was just kind of like, oh, this, and this. And, I just kind of listened, had that awkward period of silence that people tend to fill in with the truth. And then she dropped in. And I was like, this is what's going on. She had so much, like, she was transitioning someone that was in the house that abruptly left. And so she mentioned that the cat was really attached to this person that she no longer likes. And so it's like, well, your cat is upset that the person that they were bonded with is no longer there. And you're like speaking very, like, aggressively and angrily towards the person that the cat really likes. And she didn't say it, I just put it out there. I said, and are you a little bit mad at your cat or feeling some kind of way that your cat likes the other person maybe more than you in your judgment of it? And she was just like, maybe. So they feed on our energy so much. And
I've seen it.
I find I have switched my practice to working with people's pets. It helps support their owner. I don't even like to call them their owner, their caretaker.
Yeah.
So much more so.
Yeah, I don't like the word owner either.
Yeah, you don't own a pet.
People know that when I talked about my child, people got it. They didn't question it. They knew what was up.
It was your fur baby, yeah.
My rider died.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's how I understand that. Yeah.
I saw his mentality, so people know. She's like, Tina got baby. Oh no, they don't cut. Nope, that's her baby. Very seldom call her anything other than maybe a feline, but very seldom cat came out my mouth. So that was my ride or die. Then I had the Persian who ended up, even he was an example of seeing his personality shift when it came to negativity. And Elizabeth was more like me. The house was quiet. She did tolerate my parties. Some of them I had on my own. I like my parties. My parties is cool. You're not on the door, I might let you join. But
she literally will. Probably a little bit less nowadays. I think you're a little bit more energetically discerning.
Yeah, I mean, I love my music. It's been moving since my mother passed music. I mean, it was already there because I had my speakers all over and had the surround sound. I gave my best due, my Pioneers. If anybody know what them are.
No, you gave them away?
Yeah, I sure did. I gave a whole bunch of stuff, stereo system, but I know he did good. My miter saw, and I don't know how much them cost today. And my table wet saw.
Wait, why are we giving tools away?
I just did. I don't know if I do that kind of work. I kept that one. I should have kept the circular saw. I should have gave away. I kept the jigsaw in the circular saw, and I have a Dremel. Ain't used in a while. I just ain't in that. I'm more in the other creativity, but yeah, a miter saw. Those are hard to come by. Those things probably ain't cheap today. They're probably up there.
Yeah, they are. I can tell you, they are an investment, especially quality ones.
Yeah, I had some good stuff. Doing the type of work I was doing in remodeling, and my mother gave me a compliment. She said, "I don't know where you got it and get from Dad. I just watch stuff and can do stuff." And then I had an assistance with someone, and most of the work, then I laid a laminate wood floor on my own. So just things of that nature. And I look at, and matter of fact, what was so cool is, animals, if you pay them some attention, believe me, they paying you some attention. Now, Elizabeth used to watch me work all the time. Queen Elizabeth, I used to watch me work all the time. And I remember this one time I was laying the wood floor and she was just standing on the stairs, looking through the little banister and just watching me work. If she could have helped me, I believe she would have.
She was helping
She
in
knew
her
how
own
to
way, I'm
lay the
sure.
floor.
Yeah.
She was supporting me because I could see. I wish I could have took a picture of it, just looking through. I think I got one thing where she's looking through the spindles, if I even have them, but they probably on an old camera, not this updated stuff we were doing with the phones. Um, because of when that time was when I laid that floor and went through several blades. So they are very, very intuitive. She was very, very. There's some things that I think she saw, and you have to pay attention to your animals. They can share stuff with you, and they can see stuff that you normally can't. And when you look at an animal, because of my mother, they can sense stuff. When we talk about, they can sense the difference on when you're well and when you're not well. And then you find them able to sense dysfunctions, and I say dysfunctions on purpose, such as the dysfunction of cancer and other stuff, where they know something's up with you, or a dog or even a cat would lay on a certain part of you or on a regular, is something that you probably might want to check out. I'm just saying.
No,
So,
no, no. I think we should say it loudly. I co-sign what you're saying.
mm,
Animals, that's why they use them in therapy as their therapy aids. That's why they literally they can train dogs. There's dogs
yeah.
that are trained to find cancer in the body.
Uh-huh.
And and so because they're able to read energy in that way, and especially when they have such a unconditional love and connection with you, they see that and they
Mm.
want to take that from you.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
that's why a lot of times you can, like, I've heard these stories of like the humans going in and getting like a diagnosis, and then their animal just kind of lays on the area where the diagnosis is, and then they go back like months later and like it's gone, but then their animal starts to get sick, and the animal now has that diagnosis that they were diagnosed with. So there's like cases of prevalence of how animals can really absorb that energy from us and attempt to transmute it as in the way that they are really physically designed to do that, because animals have like what's called blood chakras that we as humans don't have, and it allows them to make contact with the earth, and um, through that energetic contact it
Mm.
can transmute that energy. So that's why it's so important to be sure that you're providing a space for any of your animals to ground and connect to the earth, as best as you can, given the environment, and taking
Yeah.
for sure like their safety.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't hardly have any cats, for example. Dogs were the big thing in our neighborhood, but there's so many in the neighborhood now. Now you can take yours out, and like before 2020, I was able, and when I had PlayStation View, before they decided just to concentrate on gaming, I was able to see a guy called Jackson Galaxy, for example, um, who I guess you can call him the cat daddy, and there's certain breeds that if you start young, you can actually walk a cat. There's some that go outside if you
Oh
start them
yeah,
over.
my
You
neighbor
put
walks his cat all the time.
Yeah, they don't really like, but you really have to do them because they're such independent animals. They don't really like anything on them, but you can do that. And there's certain breeds that like to be outside, or if you take your indoor cat out with you out there and let them, touch and stuff, then I think that's a great way to allow them because technically domestic or cats they don't live. There's one who's still around my goddaughter's home that's still hanging around for being outside, and we've had a frigid, I mean frigid winter. We hadn't had since I returned, and even a few years before I transitioned, moved back, and how they survive in this weather. But it's not for them to kind of do that, to live outside or have them outside in this type of weather long term. But you just reminded me of something with the fox terrier Chihuahua. that I grew up who was named Queenie. And and that year, my father, well, we had already found out about his dysfunction, which had to do with colon. But in this here part, when he came out in '84, my adult mother, and we all held her. When he was a little funny because somebody did something to her young when it came to picking up, so she was very particular on who would pick her up in that because it wasn't really cool what had happened when she was younger. And so she had found a little tumor on her that I ended up taking to the doctor that we were doing with her to get off, and it was a cancerous tumor. She eventually, a year and I guess some months to where my mother and brother didn't tell me because I was in service, ended up crossing over from that dysfunction I get because my mother, there's obviously a smell to the dysfunction of cancer. And I guess she said she had smelled it on her, which I did not recognize. But of course, my mother was, on my father in a way, of course, that I wasn't. Then I kind of separated because of giving him that space. My grandmother was just like, I don't care what you think. So that space going through that particular situation. And so there's obviously a scent to it. And obviously, like we said, she picked it up, and obviously animals picked that up, so it's real. So,
yeah, it's a thing. We're not pulling this out of our asses here.
So, I mean, we have to look at everything that's connected as a whole. And since I'm all about, and I go back and I look of transforming, moving forward and growing forward and making the shifts that's necessary. And when I look at the last almost, well, we'll call it 4 years, maybe 5 of really having spirit put us in touch with, me for particularly, and then all of us with Ia all at the same time and us being connected was divine intervention. And that shifting of transformation and looking at all the things that we have embedded in us. And people think that some of the things that we've had embedded, these beliefs, these limiting things, all this is just going to go away all of a sudden. It doesn't. It's a process. Trust me. It's a process of releasing. It's a process of understanding and coming to the nature of you and to understand what it means to not be in the world. And that means, there's some people that said they have taken, and I forgot the term, it was there with me earlier, who took a hiatus from news, and like I said, I am guided to go and get what I need at that time, and I hear what I need because I know that there's a lot of stuff going on here and everywhere amongst there, and because of my empathicness, it's a lot because I've been wanting to sleep a lot and I haven't allowed myself to do that because there's things I need to accomplish. But the thing of it is you have to honor that. And I have to figure out how to honor the rest because of what's going on and because of what I am here to offer through experiences, through the challenges, through the valleys, through reaching the peaks. What I define as success obviously was like most people, but obviously my soul says, I don't think so. But I mean, it's not for me to deny what I, desire and dream of, but it doesn't, obviously can't be done in the way in which I thought it was to be done.
Right.
And so that's where we get all entangled and all frustrated up in. And this is just coming, and it's a realization, it's an awareness. And once you get to that place and start becoming aware, it's just like intuition. Of course, I use a lot of driving stuff, is when something tells you no. It was just like this whole thing with houses and all this other stuff. And there was signs that this was a not now, not you type of thing that I thought was supposed to go down, and girl didn't go down, and it was too much. And immune system goes down, and I'm real big into my body and living through things that I don't want to be no part of. internally entering my system. And so when you're doing stuff over and you're out of sync and you're not getting what you need, then, systems wear down and it comes to a place where it doesn't serve you. COVID, the whole thing with the alopecia thingy, which is the reason, one of the things that, is doing the heal and coming back and us doing this and trying to get back, into the groove thing and just doing it in a way, because if I hadn't been the person I am today, I probably wouldn't have went outside. But found a hat. I normally have different brims and stuff. And this looks like the one I was trying to wear, so,
Oh yeah, I feel like we have to address the hat. That's not a real hat. It's
it is a real hat.
It's hard. I mean, yeah, it's a hat of the Matrix for sure.
But it looks like the hat I was trying to wear that just wasn't performing today.
That's what I'm allowing her to accept as her truth.
But it looked good. I think it looked good.
So weird for me. I can't. I have to look at you from the hat down.
That I don't have on the virtual glasses.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna allow that. I would not be in this box, and we would not be recording, and you guys would not be seeing this. You would not see that. That was too much. Woo! So while we're laughing, I think because we're doing the check-in, right? You have to find the joy and the enjoyment of your life, because that's what provides you the balancing attunement that is really going to be a requirement of moving through the energy of this year, or it's going to take you out. I mean, I think I feel feel so blessed and appreciative and super grateful that part of my training as working with energy is that she pushed forward hey, when you're playing with energy, you're playing with dense energy, you need to make sure that energy doesn't attach to you. So we learned practices of detaching from energy and clearing our energy, and the importance of not getting caught in the energetics of it all. So I think you can see stuff, you can but you also have to make adjustments and remind yourself that, kind of like what you're saying, the world is not as doom and gloom as the news would want us to believe, because God is everywhere. God is everywhere. He literally is. The world hasn't blown up. That in itself is proof that God is with us and finds he drops these moments of joy and things of that nature. And one of the things Auntie Iyanla Van Zant, she talked about in Spiritual Study Sanctuary is, she shares so vulnerably about the loss of her daughters. And during Spiritual Study Sanctuary, her daughter had just passed, I think, that summer. And then she came back and did it. The timing may be off of that.
2023.
I do remember her daughter had passed, and she was talking about that.
Yep.
She was kind of sharing that. And one thing I remember her saying is reminding us about death and people passing, is that we have to detach our wanting them to be different, because that's not our journey. And it's really hard to see so much chaos and people so sad, especially as we're both very empathetic. It's just it breaks your heart, and you feel like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You feel, what's the word I'm looking for? the word escapes me, but I think the sentiment is there. Hopeless.
Uh-huh.
And a level of hopelessness that I recognize in the collective, I recognize with like my clients and
yes,
and also just myself and people around me. And I just want to say that without hope, what's the point of it all? When we lose hope, it's just, and so many people have lost a sense of hope.
we're walking around like zombies. I mean, what they call literally the Walking Dead, actually.
I was listening to this guy. He was saying how all these movies, all these series that have come out, and people in these mass followings watching this stuff, how we perpetuated that to be the reality, and how we look in and feel the experience as playing out in the world.
Yeah, lifeless. Yeah, we walk around lifeless, and
we really are. People literally are walking around like The Walking Dead. There's people who are they numb their mind with like watching the news all the time, and they have this, they lack that hope. So without hope, it's just like you don't have the connection to feeling like you're alive, or the point of living gets kind of disconnected and fuzzy. And I don't know, I kind of see it playing out in that way. And I think, you know, life imitates art on so many levels. Because there's this book by, oh God, what is his name? Orville. I can't think of the name of the book, and you kind of see like things. It was very futuristic back then.
I had that book.
I can't think of the name of it. But you kind of like see how things like our world is presenting in that way. And the Matrix.
Ooh,
the Matrix is I'm starting to kind of see some of the Matrix elements in the world. So I don't know. He may be onto something, because of we both know the power of thought, and when we hold things in thought, we create from that reality. And also, we also know too is that we can think that's how it looks, but the reality, the truth of it, that's where the distinction lies. That's why you can have people look at the same thing and they see it differently, and it all has to do with like how they're choosing to experience it.
Yeah, choose to experience the world. Actually, I'm walking the shoes. Said, I don't have to walk in your shoes to understand your shoes, but you don't have to choose to stay in them shoes.
Yeah, you take the damn shoes off, right?
And change them. And the whole thing of it is we have the power of thought. It's just like the awareness when I'm talking about being vulnerable, talking about the lingering beliefs, and it has nothing to do with what I know or what I have to share with the world. But the whole thing is something that's been so indoctrinated and everything. Most people go, and I know one of my other girls who's an avid reader out on Omaha, very poet, and she's made some changes, which is really funny. Before I use my thought, talks about, oh man, I hate when that happens. Of the idea of growing, of changing, or the thought let me go, of the belief of dealing with your childhood stuff. Going back and look, because everything comes from there. So in this pattern, the eldest of mine, and I have a lot of elders, I obviously was chosen to heal the ancestral patterns. So when we look at money, still working on that, still working on relieving scarcity, still working on the innate power that I have within me, the innate this that is mostly in all of us. We just don't recognize it, and then we have to get away from comparison. That's a huge one. Yeah. As you know, he says, can comparing yourself to others is, where is this up there? It's violence against your authentic self.
Violence, yeah.
Against your authentic self. And then the other thing is understanding the truth. And I think I might have mentioned another one, but I can't help because everything's connected together. Is I have to find out what is true about me, even within my own self. They don't have nothing to do about it. And I have to let it go. I can't continue to let it live on me when it no longer can serve me. Serve me as the woman I am now and the woman that I'm choosing to become. And walk in my truth and walk in my authenticity, walk in however that may be. The world doesn't have to like it, but it needs to be respected. And if you can't respect it, you got to roll out. You got to go. You got to go. And so you understand how important you are in the world. I had this conversation, and it comes up every now and then with my goddaughter's like, people, we used to say hi. We didn't have to know each other to say hi. And so you can't even speak to nobody because I don't know, you look at me. I'm like, well, me and her agree we're going to say hi to you anyway. I just don't take it personal no more because I used to take that thing personal. And I'm like, what the heck? I mean, really? What I do to you?
They're the Walking Dead. They're the zombies.
So say hi. Acknowledge each other's presence in the world.
Why? Why is that important?
Just say hi.
Why is that important?
Why is it important?
Based on you being a spiritual warrior, why is that important?
It's important because it's a transfer of energy. So, and just like smiling, sometimes if somebody, I can tell I want to smile, and if I get a little smirk out of them, that made their day. They had a little bit of joy within that moment. And I just be me. If I make you laugh, it ain't because I'm trying. It's just because I'm crazy as hell. So.
I think we're all crazy as hell.
That's what y'all say. I'm crazy, but we really are. That don't be taking. I'm trademarking that.
But crazy is crazy. There's no distinct. I think we get caught in the distinction. We're all crazy. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're all crazy, and it's just being aware of your craziness and being like, girl, you're doing too much. Like I do all the time. It's like, girl, you're doing too much. I was literally in the grocery store, said it out loud, like, girl, you're doing too much. And instantly started laughing at myself because I was doing the most.
It's an energetic transfer. And it's an energetic transfer. And it's so good. And whether you say it back, I've already transferred my goodness to you in some form, in some way. Regardless of what the day is. And the only reason why I do it is because I've been through some stuff and I had no choice. My soul had me smile. I had to go to work and smile. I was in the public. I mean, in my military career, I smiled. People didn't like me smile. Like, why you smile so much? I'm like, because I'm gonna smile. What you gonna do about it? My smile kind of lessened after my mom, and it was just everything that I had been doing. I still did this, and nobody knows what somebody's going through. And I don't try to judge it or make it, but even though then, I smiled. He was like, oh, your mother, and act like wasn't nothing going on with me. That was a lie, but that was your assumption. That was your assumption.
Yeah.
I just smiled and danced through it. Dancing is my go-to. Unless and this is from my military career, not unless and I haven't had this have almost 2 years. I'm so thankful. Where the seas, other than that, if it's a little something and I can tolerate it, I would dance through it. I would grab a stick, I grab a cane, I grab whatever. I can dance with any device.
She said I can dance with any device. So that's the quote of the episode. I can dance with any device. If you made it that far, down in the comments, I can dance with any device. Oh my God. Well,
wonderful.
So we've checked in here, right? What's the takeaway? And I think also too, smiling. how I perceived it in our training kind of popped up is like when you look at someone, you're speaking to their soul. So essentially, you're acknowledging the divinity of who they are.
Their presence.
You recognize like I think of that song by I don't remember their name, The God in Me.
Oh, what's her name?
You know
Mary,
the song, Mary. Like it's like you recognize the God in other people.
The spirit, the living soul, the living spirit, the soul that gives you life.
I see you, girl. Like I see you. Like and like you said, you don't know what people are going through, and it can just be so. Like you can breathe life into some. You can. Not gonna say that because I don't think you can breathe life into people. People have to choose that breath.
They have to receive.
They have to choose to breathe in. But it's almost like you acknowledge the God in them, and it creates this instant connection and safety bubble where it's like, oh, and they kind of like soften, and then there's like, oh, breathe again, right? Whitney Houston song. It's just all over the place. All the music is coming in. Like breathe again. It's like it's like just breathe.
I think Toni Braxton got a cool song.
Breathe again. Breathe. Yeah, she does. Maybe I'm thinking of Toni Braxton.
It's Toni Braxton because that's okay. It's Toni Braxton.
It's not Whitney's another.
Because it's on one of my stuff. No, it's
no, the Whitney song I'm thinking of is something else. But what's like?
I know which Whitney song you're talking about.
What's the support?
I think it's called
Like, what's your as the alchemist? How can like what do you want to share to close it out? And I'll share.
It's Breathe Again by Toni.
Yeah, it is that one. But I was thinking, Toni. I can't think of the Whitney song that I'm thinking of.
But she talks about the one about loving. It actually comes about loving yourself, right? She's on my Spotify hot. I gotta get it back up. But the takeaway, and is sitting. Oh my God, the chaos, like big cities, this and that. People trying to get somewhere, flying to a red light, flying to a stop sign. It's like, for one, slow down. I'm learning to be still. Even though I pick up so much stuff, I just think I'm a pray walker. I walk and receive. I run and receive. I drive and receive. I really drive. I get a lot of stuff when I'm on the interstate in the car. A lot. Is to connect and find out your true self. Find out and get into who you really are, and not what the world and how the world might see you. You have to look and see how are you seeing yourself? That ain't you. That ain't the true essence of you. And I have on my necklace Worthy because it's got to be centered. And Jamie Lee Kerma was Worthy, and it's beautiful. We might have to tell who makes this necklace here, and I need to reach out to her. Is tapping into who you are and the worthiness of your being. We don't sit down with ourselves and me, undoing how I was brought up with perfectionism. And I don't think the military I think it enhanced it. I still would be particular and do it like the way I present and all that, but have to undo that such thing because it doesn't exist. I know what practice make perfect because of being an athlete and doing other things and winning. And winning is good. Losing ain't bad. It's just what you learn from it. It's like that my godson. I mean, if you want to learn from me, because my goddaughter know, for example, if you young, I ain't gonna let you win. If you gonna beat me, then you good. So that means get better, baby. You just get better if you want to beat me. So
you need to get better. Get better, baby.
And so it is that, and that's how it is. I can't do that. I gotta let the woman. No, get better, baby. We in that state. We gonna play. Just let's play. But it's just to get into and the true nature, which is sitting still, sitting quiet, which Major just spoke about on Sunday, about. And I realize it's been a struggle calming my mind because it has so many good, and there's a lot of good things that come on, trying to be still it, trying to become present, get with your breath in your body, and just connect with your divineness, with the soul of you, the living, creative breath. Find something that makes you laugh, smile, whether it be comedy, whether it be going out dancing, whether it partaking a fine glass of red wine at some time on time, or some water. I drink a lot of water too, so don't get it twisted. I drink 96 on a good day, which should be every day, which it was. 64 is minimum, and the body, it ain't too happy with minimums. But and so with that being said, it's all about people say, find, so I say I ain't never been lost. So it's about rediscovering who you are, and every time you grow a day older, you become a new being. That's within the body, through the cells, through the everything, through the mind. Is what you choose. Do you choose to allow yourself to become the best version of yourself every day, and go ahead and accept? It's like I had to give myself grace. I had an off day for this, had an off day for that, chose to eat that. And if I eat a cookie, depending on the cookie, I'm on just embrace until my body is good. So, you just kind of want to, move through that, find some joy, some laughter, some fun. And people think, oh, and let me tell y'all, people who think y'all too young to do something, then you too old for me, because there's never too old to do anything in the world. It just might not be for you to do, but find out what it is for you to do. Whether it's rock climbing, you don't have to go on the mountain to do it. They got indoor rock climbing. We got a big place out here, locally, family owned, where you can just cool and test yourself. Fun family things. Just find something. I like shooting pool. I have a game of pool every now and then, try to pool through. And just don't think about it. Just do it. Find out what it is. And this year is going to be especially important for you to find something that you enjoy doing, that makes you laugh, that where you can get your mind off of whatever is going on. Just take care of your business so you can just live. Live freely. Live freely. Shit happens, then there's a different day, they say. So there's always a new day. Always a new day. And I have to be aware of the thoughts that come in that tell me otherwise. I can acknowledge them, and then I say, see you later. Because the ego is one of the things that get up and remind you of yesterday. It reminds you of yesterday all the time. It reminds you to get so far in the future. Our future thing is nothing wrong with planning, but if we're there so far, we can never reach it, because in the present moment is what will get us there. Organizing your time, find out what's really important and just diving in it, and, and going from there. You have to do you and feel you before you can feel anybody. And that's cool, whether you have family, children, or whatever, or a pet. Like we said, everybody picks up on everything. Your children watch you as well, to do certain things, and they are very, very, they watch your behaviors. So if you have scarcity in this or some of money, this and that, you want to go ahead and change those so you can pass on the goodness to the next generation and break the ties that bind you. Let's have some freaking fun.
That part. Some fun. Some fun, for sure.
Have some freaking fun.
So, those are really good. You made some great points there.
Thank you, love. Not true. I do.
So my mind goes to just kind of reading into the energy. People are just overwhelmed, right? So focus. I think it's important to honor how you feel. I'll start there. Honor how you feel, and find a way that honors your feelings, that long term has a positive impact. So if you, and I think this is going to be a practice this year specifically that will allow you to start to give your body permission to start transmuting some of that energy, that dense energy. So the acknowledging of how you feel and honoring it, and not labeling it or judging it for anything other than just like, I feel really overwhelmed, disappointed, angry, sad, and just honor it. I think sometimes we're so quick to run away from our feelings that we don't even acknowledge that we're feeling this way. So I think start there, acknowledge it, honor it, and I think find something that brings you joy that's not dependent on other people. I think that is something that we, as a culture, really need to find things that we can do that's not dependent on specific people. So it may be like, hey, you like to take a class and I like to go to my class, so and so. That's a bit different. But if it's like, I like to take this class and I want to go with this specific person, that's very dependent on that person. And, they have a life and sometimes they may not be able to go with you. But if you reframe it and say, I'm taking this class and I'm going, and like maybe your friend does come and sometimes she doesn't, you're still doing something that brings you joy that's not dependent on that other person. I think that's a big one for sure.
I agree.
That I'm recognizing needs to be reframed and relooked at, and is causing a lot of dysfunction with people in their life. So those are my things.
Love it. We have to love who we are, because here, oh God, you hit on something, and we're gonna get is no one, and I've been where no one, because you get disappointed because expecting somebody, no one can make you happier than you can make yourself. And so you can do all bad by yourself. The movie, normally that's not so literally true.
You literally can do bad by yourself. You don't. You literally can do bad by yourself.
You can.
Well, you're the one that's choosing it, even if it's seeking it through other people.
Yeah. That title was something. That title is something. It's a deep title.
Yeah, it is. It's a deep title. Perry movie.
Oh, yeah, it is. I just watched it. I watched it for
I just remember the name of the song, the Whitney Houston song, Exhale. It's from Exhale.
Oh, that's from the movie. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people are holding their breath so much. That, you know what? That leads me to another point. Please, y'all need to learn how to breathe. Like, real talk. I can own that. I recognize when I'm holding my breath and I'm like, breathe. So I've started to like get into a breathwork practice and breathe. Just breathe. That's something that you can do for yourself that is not dependent on other people. There you go. I gave you a tool that you can do. Breathe.
Can't nobody make us happy. And if you realize that, and you realize that when somebody does so you get disappointed, this and that, it ain't personal, because the expectations is out there. We can't change people, can't do nothing. And when you get in a relationship, you better get in a relationship with the people. You need to like them the way they are, or find out who they truly are before you do that. Cause ain't no changing. And I don't know where that came up. I was watching something and it made so much sense. And I go through my own mind. I just tried to be the best person I knew how to be. And if you're expecting for somebody to be this and do this for you, do that for you, there's certain things you can do for yourself. There's only certain things that somebody can do for you. Making you happy is not one of them. You have to be happy. That stuff comes from within. That comes from within yourself. Like I said, somebody on my job told me, who I love, said, I was talking about the things that happen or through me that they're aware of, and how I spoke. I don't know, was it in 2022? I spoke and shared some I had never shared before, publicly actually, and she said, your soul just desired to live. I desire to live. Well, I leave this body, still living. I'm still trying to understand, live this body, because I'm just choosing that I'm choosing to start to really, truly, truly live my life and release the bounds that bound me because I thought it needed to be this way, that way, all that. No, I am who I am. Loving me comes first. And then once you do that, then you can allow some people to love you the way you need to be loved and not just settle either for that. So nobody can make you happy but you. Nobody can satisfy but you. And you can let people who come in find out what that is for you and see if they match that for you. And then I'm all about in energetic matches now, and I'm not selling for anything less. But be your best self, and then you attract the best self that's supposed to come to you. However that may be. We think relationship, we need to get all caught up. We have babies when we're not ready. We haven't even, kind of figured out our own path. And then you're taking care of another one that truly relies on you until they get to a certain point where they're not. But they will always, a mama or daddy always be a daddy. Depending on how you choose to live in that position. Because that's what it is. It's a position. It's a grand one. So, yeah. I mean, and it's not that you're not going to go through nothing. It's about how you go through it that matters as well. And I can speak it because I know.
All right. So to wrap it up, what I hear you saying is the reminder, like what dropped in my head to say out of my mouth is the reminder that no one's coming to save you, that it's your responsibility to save yourself. And I think you said that in the way that you said it without saying that phrasing exactly. It's your responsibility. You're responsible for yourself. And I think a lot of people are realizing, have woken up to that, given what's going on at the time of us recording this and why we were called to do a check-in. You got to save yourself. Don't be so dependent on other people. I think it was kind of like goes back to what I was saying too. Like, don't be so dependent on other people. Don't give your sovereignty away to other people who don't really care about you, because it's not really their responsibility. That's yours, as you were saying. All right, we're going to end it there. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being in conversation with me, Warrioress Ardeshir Aren. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, The Alchemist and The Oracle.
Let us know something.
Yeah, comment down below.
Let us know.
Questions,
anything you want to hear, have conversations on.
How are you doing? This is an opportunity to check in with yourself. How are you doing? One word. How are you doing? Or if you need to write a paragraph, do that too. So that's it for us today. We hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.
Much love, y'all.